Okay, so Pokemon is a bit dodgy right now. Whether you think it got dodgy at Ultra Sun and Moon or the awful looking Gen 4 remakes is up to you. Or maybe you're fine with Pokemon right now, and if that's the case, good for you. But if you're looking for another turn-based experience that'll be a breath of fresh air while sticking to a gameplay and formula you know and love, then boy do I have a game for you. Persona 5 is the hottest turn-based JRPG that isn't Pokemon, or Dragon Quest. There's a decent chance you've heard of it, and if you have, there's also a decent chance that you steer clear of it because of the fans. If that's true, I'd like to take a firm grip of your right shoulder, look you right in the eyes, and remind you, you're a Pokemon fan. If you don't get the hint, Pokemon fans can be the absolute worst. One thing I'd like to clear up very quickly is, well, if you only play Pokemon for the competitive aspect, then Persona 5 isn't for you. You've also lost permission to look me in the eyes ever again. And I'll be working on getting a restraining order against you for me and my loved ones. That aside, if you like this video, drop a like and subscribe when you're done, as it really helps out the channel. And be sure to watch my other videos as well. Anyway, let's get into why Pokemon fans should give Persona a try. The first question I asked before getting into this game is, why did they call it Persona 5 if it's the only game in the series? The answer to that is, I don't know. Pokemon has become pretty easy nowadays. When you play through the newer games, most battles are over after 1 or 2 attacks. Whilst this may be Game Freak giving you a subtle hint about your performance in the bedroom, there's no denying this has removed a lot of fun from the adventure. There's never any reason to strategize with attack and defense buffs. You just pick the strongest move, and you win. Now, this is where Persona 5 comes in. Persona 5 is a game developed for an older audience, which means the battle strats can be much more intricate. The outcome of a battle can actually be dependent on factors like stat buffs and debuffs and how you use them to set up a powerful attack. Of course, there's the type weaknesses that you're used to, but even they just go that one bit further. Here's an example. If you inflict a burn on an enemy, that can set you up for a technical attack. If you hit a burned enemy with a wind type attack, it'll be a technical hit and you'll get extra damage. So unlike Pokemon where you just use a super effective move, Persona has you think about how to capitalize on the aftermath of such an attack. What else is better about the battles though? Well, Persona 5 allows you to have 4 party members out at once against a varying number of enemies. The way your team members bounce off each other in battle opens up so many gameplay possibilities. The same goes for the enemy team. I think the best way to demonstrate this would be the baton pass mechanic. When you knock down an enemy with a super effective move, your party member is granted an extra turn. With this turn, you have the option to pass the baton and give that attack to another party member. The baton pass grants a power boost to whoever you pass it on to. Then, if the next teammate also downs an enemy, they can pass the baton to the next person and give an even bigger power boost. If you play your cards right, you can chain together the baton pass for a really big attack. How big of an attack, you ask? I don't know, about this big? I mentioned that you can knock down an enemy. Well, if you knock down the whole enemy team, you can initiate a hold-up. During a hold-up, you can pretty much mug the enemy for items or money, persuade them to join your team, or you can sorta just beat 'em up! I don't know, I just think hold-ups are cool, as it gives the player many different outcomes to pick from in battles. Also, just to add to this, the animations and art during combat is infinitely more expressive than modern Pokemons. Not that it's hard to do better, but damn, the game can look good. Okay, I've spoken enough about battling. There's some other things I should tell you. Something that's very different about Persona 5 is the social life sim side of the game. You can spend time in the real world and perform different activities to increase your social stats. These social stats allow you to progress through social links with different characters. In turn, increased bonds can lead to many benefits during battle. Most of the social links will get you pretty invested in the game's cast and maybe make you feel a thing or two, you know, in the old brain department. What I just told you there was a fairly watered down explanation of the game's life sim because damn, there's only so many videos I can explain this in and keep my sanity. Anyway, basically, if you're the kind of person who isn't really into social sims and aren't exactly down with romancing video game characters because you think it's weird, which I get, maybe this isn't for you. Not to say that the game is all romancing, that's just the part the fandom will rub in your face the most. Now then, let's say you're like me and you enjoy the story of Pokemon games. Yes, that is a valid and genuine reason to enjoy Pokemon. What does Persona 5 have for someone like you? A whole fucking lot. Persona 5 is a game where story comes first and literally everything else comes second. And whilst it does take a bit to pick up at the beginning, the experience is 100% worth your time. Speaking of 100, About 100 hours of your time will go into this game if you want to be precise about it. This game's only purpose is to tell the story, with no worries of designing around a competitive scene to hinder it. As soon as you get invested in the Phantom Thieves mission, you'll be hooked until the end, and will probably shed a tear. Not me though. I lost my tear ducts in the Vietnam War, so I can't cry. Right, so I got everything covered for the story buffs and the gameplay buffs. But what about the catch-em-all pioneers, the upper class of Pokemon players? Well, there is something for you guys too. The personas you obtain are logged in the compendium, which is basically just the Pokédex. And yeah, you can make an objective out of completing it if you want. As I mentioned before, you can recruit a persona by bartering with it in a hold-up. But there's also another method. In a place called the Velvet Room, you can execute 2 personas in a fusion to create a new, more powerful persona. This would probably end up being your primary method of obtaining personas. Of course, executing them makes it hard to do something like a living dex, especially when some personas are exclusive only to fusion. And another drawback is that it's really hard to get every persona on one playthrough of the game, so you'll probably have to start a new game plus to complete the compendium. Another complaint I have is that the game heavily encourages you to execute your starter persona, and if you do keep it, it caps at a really low level. I always thought this was really lame, as it's so much cooler to have a starter that you can depend on and stick with from start to finish. So yeah, the catch-em-all aspect isn't as seamless as it is in Pokemon, but you definitely can work in the compendium as a side project if you feel like it. Okay, so is that all I have to tell you? Yeah, that's all. I'd like to think with this short video I've managed to convince some of you to give Persona 5 a go. It's a nice breath of fresh air for Pokemon fans who are getting a bit older and looking for a turn-based experience that tackles heavier topics. It's just good fun, and this is coming from a man who used to be a hardcore Persona skeptic. If you play the game and like it, make sure to try some of the other Persona games too, some of which I've made separate videos on, so you know, you can go there for guidance. Alright, I'm gonna end this one here. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this vid. And hey, you can even leave a comment if you have any more questions. But that's all from me. Bye. Oh yeah, and make sure to buy Persona 5 Royal and not Vanilla Persona 5. Trust me, it's worth it.